Hello everyone. Back in 2009, Michael Jackson embarked on what was supposed to be the biggest concert run of his career. It was meant to be record-breaking, bringing a level of spectacle that only Michael Jackson could deliver. At first, there were only going to be 10 shows at the O2 Arena in London, but due to the massive demand, with tickets selling out in less than an hour, another 50 shows were added. This meant that Michael would be performing from July 2009 all the way into the middle of 2010. Even though he had done year-long tours before, the last time he did this was back in 1997. Over a decade earlier, but Michael was set to make this happen. He started getting his crew ready. He held auditions for new dancers, brought back musicians who he had worked with on his biggest tours, and everything was set for him to get back on stage. He started rehearsing lightly, and as time went on, the rehearsals got longer and the songs got more demanding. Fans all over the world were ecstatic. Websites crashed just from people trying to register for tickets. Some unprinted tickets were reselling on eBay for as high as 10,000 euros. The excitement was everywhere. The King of Pop was coming back. In the very first hours of June 25th, 2009, Michael went home from a long day of rehearsing. At around 12 p.m., an ambulance was called into his home, and 2 hours later, his death was confirmed by his family. The news sent shockwaves around the world. It was so devastating that Google temporarily crashed for millions of people searching his name. Tributes poured in, and the This Is It tour was obviously cancelled. But a sudden decline like that doesn't just happen out of nowhere. Behind the scenes of this massive comeback, Michael was dealing with extreme pressure and sheer neglect. Let's look at what actually happened behind closed doors and what led to his final days. After his death, the Michael Jackson estate, the concert producers AEG Live, and the director Kenny Ortega got together to stitch 100 hours of rehearsal footage into the This Is It movie. They wanted everyone to see what the concert was supposed to be like. But if you watch the footage closely, Michael looks very frail and tired. He looks incredibly skinny, completely different from the performer we saw in the 90s and early 2000s. That footage was just the start. Over the next few years, the dark truth about this tour started to leak out. To really understand how bad things got, we have to go back to September of 2008. The live entertainment company, AEG Live, knew Michael was in massive debt, reportedly over $500 million. They proposed a plan to bring back his glory days and pay off the debt with a huge tour across Europe, India, America, and beyond. But Michael dragged out the negotiations and didn't want to sign anything until January 2009, when he pushed the numbers of shows down to just 10, and only in London. But AEG didn't comply. Because of the high demand, they added an extra 50 shows without his initial consent. After a deal was finally settled, Michael was paid in advances to cover some of his debt, and the time to announce the tour was getting closer. On March 5th, 2009, the stage was set for Michael to announce his comeback. Fans and media were eager, but he wasn't feeling well. Witnesses mentioned that Michael woke up physically weak and incredibly anxious. He locked himself in his hotel room and refused to come out. That's when the AEG CEO, Randy Phillips, panicked. He reportedly grabbed Michael and yelled at him and forced him out. Phillips even described Michael as being a mess, saying that he had drank half a bottle of vodka and needed to be handled.
At one point during the afternoon, I went into the room as Michael was getting prepared, and he seemed a bit hungover. I'm not an expert, and I don't drink, so I've never been hungover. So,
did you yell at him?
I raised my voice. I was a little firm.
You were a little firm.
Yeah.
Instead of an exciting comeback, a man was being forced into the spotlight against his will. That's why during the announcement, Michael looks awkward, speaks slowly, repeats lines, and delivers a very brief speech. In April, Michael went back to the United States to rehearse. But because of his contracts with AEG, he was forced to rehearse even when he didn't feel up to it. Sometimes he would show up late, or not at all, showing clear signs of physical decline. While he was struggling, Dr. Conrad Murray was appointed as his full-time doctor. You might wonder why a cardiologist would agree to such a sketchy setup. The answer comes down to money. Dr. Murray was drowning in hundreds of thousands of dollars of personal debt, facing lawsuits and unpaid child support. AEG Live offered him $150,000 a month to keep Michael functioning for the tour. When May rolled around, Michael's weight visibly dropped, and crew members described him as unfocused. He repeatedly told people that he was not ready to do 50 shows, yet he was ignored. The extreme stress led to severe insomnia, and Dr. Murray started heavily medicating him just so he could sleep. By early June, Michael started trying on the actual outfits for the tour, and what I'm about to show you are photos from those private fitting sessions that are incredibly rare. When you look at these pictures from different angles, you can see exactly what's going on. He's trying on these massive, custom-made jackets to see how they fit, but he just looks like he's drowning in the fabric. His frame is incredibly skinny and frail, completely different from the powerhouse that we saw in the 90s and early 2000s. You're looking at direct and physical proof of how fast his health was declining, and it shows that the people organizing the tour had to have seen it, but chose to look the other way. Later in mid to late June, the rehearsals got more intense. Kenny Ortega noticed Michael's health getting worse and even wrote a letter warning that Michael was in distress. Randy Phillips responded that Michael would be fine under the care of Dr. Murray.
Mr. Ortega writes here, he is not in great physical shape. I believe he's hurting. He has been slow at grabbing hold of the work. As of June 15, 2009, did you get that same information?
I don't remember receiving this email.
After a month of cancelled rehearsals and mounting issues, Michael actually gave a strong, focused performance on June 23rd. This is the day where most of the This Is It movie footage comes from. On June 24th, he had another strong rehearsal deep into the night. Michael left the arena around midnight, telling everyone that he'd see them the next day. But the hours between midnight and noon of June 25th are what ultimately cost him his life. When Michael got home, his anxiety about the tour was at an all-time high. He was terrified that if he didn't sleep, he wouldn't be able to rehearse, and AEG would pull the plug, leaving him bankrupt. According to court documents, from 1:30 in the morning until 7:30 a.m., Dr. Murray gave Michael a massive series of sedatives, Valium, lorazepam, and midazolam, but none of it worked. Michael was wide awake, exhausted, and begging for sleep. He kept asking for what he called his milk. This was a drug called propofol. Propofol is a very heavy surgical anesthetic meant strictly for hospital use, requiring proper heart monitors and oxygen machines. But for 2 months, Dr. Murray had been bringing this hospital-grade drug into Michael's private bedroom without any safety equipment. Finally, at 10:40 in the morning, giving it to Michael's pleas, Murray administered the propofol. This is where Murray made a fatal mistake. After giving his patient a dangerous anesthetic, he left him completely alone in the bedroom to go to the bathroom and make several personal phone calls, including one to a cocktail waitress. When he finally went back into the room to check on him, Michael wasn't breathing. Instead of doing what any doctor should do and calling 911 immediately, Murray panicked. He scrambled across the room, gathering up medical vials and IV bags to hide the evidence. He even ordered a security guard to help him hide the bottles before they finally called for an ambulance.
Sir, we have a gentleman here that needs help, and he's not breathing yet. He's not breathing, and we're trying to pump him, but he's not breathing, sir.
Okay, how old is he?
He's 50 years old, sir.
50, okay. He's unconscious, he's not breathing?
Yes, he's not breathing, sir.
Okay, and he's not conscious either?
No, he's not conscious, sir.
Okay. All right, is he on the floor? Where's he at right now?
He's on the bed, sir. He's on the bed.
Okay,
Because of this massive delay, by the time the paramedics rushed into the house and tried to save him, it was too late. Michael Jackson died of a cardiac arrest on June 25th, exactly 2 weeks before the start of the tour. Memorials were held all over the world, but behind the comeback of the King of Pop was a man who desperately needed help, forced to do something he hadn't done in over 10 years. In the end, this is a story of monumental neglect. People saw he wasn't ready, but they only saw the financial opportunity he represented. Personally, watching the This Is It movie back now, it just feels sad. Not just because of his passing, but because you can clearly see the exhaustion and the frailty on the screen. I hope you learned something from this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.